Good evening, students. Let us start with the second chapter, Sources of Corporate Finance. Let us see the subtopic, Kinds of Shares over here. Kinds of share as per section 43 of the Companies Act 2013. A company can issue different types of shares depending upon the right to control income and risk. In the next slide, let us see the different types of or kinds of shares over here. Kinds of shares continued over here. Shares, we have two types of shares over here, equity shares and preference shares over here. Equities, again, we have two benefits. So equity shares with voting right, equity shares with differential voting rights. Once the shareholder purchase the equity share and become the, you can say, equity shareholder, member or owner of the company over here. So equity shareholder has a voting right in the company and right to participate and inspect books of accounts of the company. The B part is preference shares over here. Now these are the types of preference shares. First, cumulative preference shares. Second, non-cumulative preference shares. Third, participating preference shares. Fourth, non-participating preference shares. Fifth, convertible preference shares. Sixth, non-convertible preference shares. Seventh, redeemable preference shares. And eighth, irredeemable preference shares. So all these 8 types of preferences will be seen to detail in the next subtopic over here. Now let us see the equity shares over here. Now basically equity shares are also known as ordinary shares. Companies Act defines equity shares as those shares which are not preference shares. It is very easy to understand. Those shares which are not preference shares is called as an equity share. So this is a definition of equity share. You can write this definition, you can score 1 mark over here. The above definition explains that the equity shares do not enjoy preference for dividend. Now this means at the time of winding of the company over here, the equity shareholder gets the payment at the end of the, you can say, when the payment is done to the all the outsiders of the company, means all the, you can say, the creditors of the company, like preference shareholders, bondholders of the company, etc. So whatever amount is left after winding of the company with the company, so that amount is given to the equity shareholder as in residual claimants over here. So they have further explained over here, the equity shares do not have priority for repayment of capital at the time of winding of the company over here. Equity shares continue. Equity shares are fundamental source of financing. Business activity, equity shareholders own the company and bear ultimate risk associated with the ownership over here. Now very true here, equity shares, you can say, they are the higher risk holder over here, because here under equity shares over here, when the person has purchased the equity shares of the company, so the person may not got the equity, the person may not get the dividend every year if he or she has purchased the equity share of the company. The reason is that because depend on the company's profit, and if the board of directors declares dividend over here, then only the equity shareholder gets the dividend every over here. Fourth point they have given here, after paying claims of all other investors, the remaining funds belong to equity shareholder. Thus, the equity shareholder are residual payments of the income and assets over here. Okay, this all I explained you few minutes before in the previous slide over here. It means over here, whatever amount is left at the end with the company, so this is given to the equity shareholder over here. Whatever amount is remaining with the company, this is given to equity shareholder, and this is called as residual claimants over here on income and assets. Mean, or whatever income the company is having, whatever assets they are having. So after selling all the assets of the company, that particular money is given to the equity shareholder over here. Now working capital. Now before going to in detail in working capital, let us understand the meaning of the working capital. Now basically working capital means it is the capital which is required on daily basis to carry out the business activities or business transactions of the company over here. So let us see how does the company prepares working capital statement over here. Let us, I'll show you one, you can say, estimated statement of working capital over here. So we'll get an idea how the company calculates the statement of working capital over here. First column will be particulars over here. Second column will be credit period. Then third column will be working, and fourth column will be a rupees column over here. Okay, so I'll write over here estimated statement of working capital. So basically this is a statement. Okay, it is prepared on the year and on that particular day. So you will write as on. You can write anything over as on over here. Okay, so this is a statement of work, estimate statement of working capital. It is prepared on that particular day and date over there. Okay, particulars. Okay, then credit period is will come over here. Credit period, then working, which will be in rupees over here again. In rupees will come over here, and last rupees column, the final answer will come over here. So this is the basic format I can explain you all. Have to explain, write this properly. Okay, estimated okay. Just a second. Okay, then next year, always first will come over here a current assets. In the current assets, you have first, first you have stock. Under stock, you have different types of, you can say, raw materials first. P, work in process. C, finished goods. Then second, you can write here debtors, sundry debtors. Three, you can write over here cash. Fourth, bills receivable. Then write here fifth, prepaid expenses. Then you will write less. B, less B, less B, current liabilities. You can write this sundry creditors, bills payable, then third, outstanding. This O slash is approved short form over here. Outstanding wages, then outstanding overhead expenses, overheads. Later on you will get net working capital, which is A minus B over here. Okay, whatever amount is there, okay, let us see the next part. In working, the information may be available in days, credit period. Information may be available in days, so information will be available in days, months. In days we have 365 days and 366 days if we have leap year over here. Then months, we have total 12 months in whole year, and weeks, total we have 52 weeks in whole year. So accordingly information is calculated over here. So whatever amount is there over here of stock raw materials is written over here. Work in process amount is written over here. Finished goods account is calculated over here. Now for cash, no need to calculate the working period directly. Out in outer column, you have to record this amount over here. Similarly for this also, sundry creditors, sundry creditors, sundry creditors, creditors. Okay, creditors will come over here. Then amount will be coming over here. Then bills payable amount. Then wages amount, expenses over here. So whatever total will come of total B, will be writing here over in bracket. Why in bracket? Because you have to deduct the amount over here. Okay. So whatever amount will be getting over here, will be getting the net working capital over here, which will come to A minus B over here. A minus B. A minus B will be coming over here. This will be your net working capital amount over here. So whatever amount will be coming here will be writing over here, total A minus B. That is called as net working capital over here. So this is the basic, you can say, estimated statement of working capital. Okay, this is the, you can say, practical calculation of the companies they follow over here. Now more into detail, factors affecting working capital we'll be doing in the next lecture over here. Thank you.